Greetings! Today is the final session for Reimagining Creativity in the Classroom. We're going to talk about the importance of carrying the concepts of creative practices learned in the classroom into the future. My panel of experts is still with us. Becker comes from the world of higher ed, Meredith and Jordan are secondary educators, and Daphne brings us the view from the elementary room. They'll be chiming in from time to time to share their thinking too. So, unfortunately, many students today are not prepared to meet creative challenges. That in turn translates to difficulty in the workplace. 75% of companies report that newly hired recent graduates were unsatisfactory. Lack of motivation, lack of initiative, lack of problem-solving skills, and lack of ability to work in a team are among the top 10 reasons for unsatisfactory performance. Students won't overcome these deficiencies when their every move, every thought, and every response is scripted according to standards and structured curricula. Life doesn't happen according to a script. The future is, as it always has been, uncertain. However, rigid classroom routines are not the only hindrance to the creative process. I believe that some difficulties surrounding the dearth of student creativity and the lack of student success in the workplace revolve around the ubiquity of personal technology. Some researchers have found a direct correlation between cell phone usage and academic entitlement and, to put it politely, uncivilized classroom behaviors like sleeping in class, disruptions, or blatant disrespect. Entitled students believe they should receive high marks even though their effort clearly warrants lower grades. They believe they are owed the opportunity to learn and that all that is required is showing up. All of their academic woes are the responsibility of someone else. These attitudes are carried into the workplace. Imagine showing up for an interview in shorts and flip-flops. True story. A cell phone is a machine and AI gathers data through machine learning. While an individual can ask Siri or Google to do a search about how a candidate should dress for an interview, neither Google or Siri can offer input unasked when a person leaves for an interview in flip-flops. Neither platform is human or humane. A person can say whatever they want to whomever they want using language that may be questionable amongst polite society. The machine will never judge. It will answer all of a student's questions, correctly or incorrectly. The student doesn't seem to care as long as an answer is found. The machine doesn't care about professionalism or compassion or considerate behaviors. The machine doesn't set limits for student behavior, and that's the problem. So the first step in reining students back in and instilling creative behaviors in the classroom involves decreasing the amount of time spent on technology in the classroom. I think many educators would disagree with that statement. I would have to say that technology isn't always the answer and may be becoming less so. Daphne, we've talked about this before. Would you like to share your thoughts?
Every student in the district has a Chromebook, but we're being asked to find more time for them to set it aside. Because in my opinion, they're not learning as much when they're on their computer. We do some bright and shiny technology things. You know, they have to learn how to copy and paste. They have to know how to make a slideshow. But if I want them to be actually engaged, right now kids are more engaged off their computers than on academically.
Oh, Meredith, I see you have a comment.
I tend to agree. We're not even one-to-one anymore. We put it away because they were totally distracted. They're walking around with screens in their face, either their computer or their phone, and they would come to class, and the first thing they would try to do is open up their computer, and it was not used for learning.
I agree with that. Don't get me wrong, educational technology has its place, and it can enhance a student's innate creativity through graphics platforms and simulations when the right pedagogical strategies are in place. But it's not a panacea for what's wrong with education today, and it's not a cure for lack of creativity in schools. Jordan, when we were talking the other day, you told me you believe that a lack of training and unrealistic expectations about what students know about technology is part of the problem.
Yes, exactly. The device has been thrust into their hands and everyone assumes they can just use it. I think the kids who have learned how to use it well can be creative. I mean, this quarter I watched 3 boys in 5 minutes make a stop motion video that they weren't prompted to make. In the right conditions and the right environment that fosters creativity, the sky's the limit. But I think it's about developing not just the skills, but the resilient mindset to think of different ways to represent this information and encourage them to learn how to do something on their own without holding their hands.
I agree. In the end, I believe learning is inseparable from creativity. If creativity is exploring possibilities, solving problems, flexible thinking, and adapting to change, and learning is defined as the process of acquiring new understanding, knowledge, behavior, skills, and attitude, then learning is a creative process. According to one researcher, the creative process occurs when an individual becomes so immersed in an activity, they seem to have stepped out of the routines of everyday life into a different reality. Paying attention to the task becomes effortless. Actions merge seamlessly with new ideas as they make connections. Time is distorted and passage of time doesn't register with the creator. The individual is in the zone. Yeah, that's the moment when you do a double take when you look at the clock and notice that hours have gone by unnoticed. This flow is clearly illustrated when the bell rings and students are amazed that class is over already. Students will never be in the zone if all of their answers are found in the AI box on Google. Technology is a tool, not a teacher. So, how can a teacher help students reach this state of creative flow? It doesn't happen right away or all at once. Getting into the flow means practicing creative habits of mind. It requires perceiving and responding to change, which involves making good observations, asking curious questions, and interpreting sensory information. Did you know, for example, that heat is a form of energy that always flows from warm to cold? Thus, the term cold should actually be replaced with the phrase lack of heat. Let me get my slippers, my toes are lacking heat. Creative habits of mind include practicing abstractions and finding analogous connections between disparate things. You can swim like a fish, eat like a hog, or be blind as a bat. All I know is that if life is like a box of chocolates, I hope I get the chocolate buttercream. Creative habits of mind include synthesizing information by recombining observed and experiential data into new knowledge. If a tennis ball and a basketball are dropped from the same height at the same time, they hit the ground simultaneously. That means, theoretically in a vacuum, if a skydiver and a feather are dropped from a plane at the same time, they would hit Earth at the same time. Yep. Creative habits also include exploring patterns and wondering about cause and effect. Why don't apples fall up? Why does the bathtub overflow when I climb in? Why did the author choose the words muggle and Quidditch? How does pop culture influence our interpretation of literature? In what historical context did the Inquisition occur? All of these habits of minds I've described require that the brain replace old schema with new and rearrange information in a way that makes sense. In essence, it requires a reimagination of things we thought we knew. Educators must become staunch advocates for ensuring students have the skills to be creative, to think critically, and to dream up solutions to complex problems. They must give students plentiful opportunities to collaborate with one another, to strategize original solutions using all of their resources. Personal observations, collected data, analysis by tech tools, and even suggestions from an AI partner. Students must be required to be resilient, comfortable with ambiguity, and open to critical feedback, diligent in their efforts to think and to act. All right, take the first step. Close your eyes. Non-negotiable, close your eyes. Let the video play on the back of your eyelids. Imagine a student asking a question that makes a unique connection. Grab a Skittle, give it to her. See her face light up. Wait a minute, what color is that Skittle? What would it taste like? What clothing in your closet do you have that mimics that color or flavor? Okay, open your eyes. When you go home, pull out that piece of clothing you just imagined and wear it to work at your next opportunity. Subvert the mundane, interrupt the routine, and reimagine what creativity in the classroom could become. Then give it a try. So, trying means embracing ambiguity, allowing unconformity, looking for moments of delight and creativity in the small moments, and being inspired by those moments. Celebrate the inspirations. Do this often. The act of creation results in the release of endorphins. It improves mood and elevates well-being. Thus, creativity has been linked to happiness, and happy people tend to be more creative. Providing opportunities to recognize creative moments in the classroom can make students happier. Happy students, happy educators, better morale, fewer disruptions. What is there to lose? Well, that's all for this session. That's all for this series. In closing, I'd like to issue a final creative challenge to viewers and listeners to encourage creative practice. These challenges are for your own personal experience. If you'd like to share what you create, please send evidence via the QR code provided, and your work will be posted alongside the work of other viewers and listeners on my WordPress site, Cultivating Creative Thought. Here's your challenge. Invent a candy bar based on your best qualities. What would the name of the candy bar be? What would the ingredient list include? Thanks.